Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Astral Thoughts Podcast. Sorry I did not upload last week. Last week, my son was born, so I did not have the time and I was too tired as well. So, we've been adjusting at home. So, I'll be uploading, today and hopefully the following week, as long as everything goes as planned. But on today's podcast episode, I want to talk about how you may astral project every night and you don't even know it. And we'll also talk about my two latest experiences and I'll dissect them a bit and kind of talk about how it has to do with today's topic of how you may astral project and not even know it. So let's dive into um, my latest experience, and it was the night before. Yeah, it's the night before my son was born, actually, which was kind of interesting. So let me just look at my notes so I have it all. So I write down my experiences as soon as I wake up. So I'm just reading off of what I wrote. So that night or that morning, it was the morning, it was the day before my son was born. So the way I do it, I try to astral project around between 2 to 4 a.m. That's my time to do it. So I did it around 4 a.m. this time. I meditated. I meditated around 4 a.m. and I entered the sleep paralysis state. While I was in it, I tried to exit, but I think it was too early, so I had no luck. So I just kind of just focused on my breathing, and I let the vibrations come on. And then during that vibration stage, I tried to exit again, and it was no luck again. So I realized it was way too early. So it was just my third attempt now in the same sleep paralysis state that I just continued to focus on my breathing, and I just waited for the vibrations to kind of pass or kind of subside. Um, or like you kind of just wait for the vibrations to kind of die down a bit. And then after the vibrations kind of subsided, I decided to roll out, and at that time it worked, and I was kind of like, oh, okay, nice, it worked. So after I rolled out of my body, I saw my physical body sleeping like on the bed, and I went right downstairs and I went to like my front door, and I just put, the way to travel while you're out of body, you don't have to like really do anything. You just put the intention or put that thought out there and it kind of just happens. So to go through my front door, I just put that intention of what I wanted to do and I just went right through. And I was outside, and I remember being outside, and I'm just kind of like at the front steps of my house, and I'm walking through my front yard now. And as I'm walking through my front yard, getting closer to the street, I'm just like looking at the grass, and the grass just looks really vibrant. And the way it things kind of look in the astral realm, like things kind of have their own light. So when I looked at the grass was kind of like radiating like its own light, and it looked really beautiful, kind of as if like something from like a movie scene, like the glass, the grass was like really glistening, and it had like its own like light radiating from it. I don't know how to explain it, but it was really cool. Um, so I started walking further into the street now, and now I'm in the street, and I'm looking at like all my neighbors' houses, and I'm thinking about, oh, should I go to like one of my neighbors' house? And I immediately just kind of thought to myself, no, because that would kind of be, invasion of privacy. You wouldn't want to do that. I wouldn't want someone doing that at my house, so I wouldn't do this. So I wouldn't do that to them. So my next thought was like, I think I should try to fly, and I messed up. So my first thing was like, let me just try to jump, and I jumped a bit. It did not quite work. So what I then tried to do, I just put the intention to fly, and then it really started working. I didn't have like great flight coordination skills, but I made it maybe I'd say probably about like 50 feet into the air. I was like in the trees, like high up in the trees, and um, as I'm high up in the trees, I see like a big bird flying, and it was an owl, and we locked eyes, and I wondered if like the owl was going to be like some type of like negative experience or whatever. But I try not to let that deter me because I know like if I got scared or anything, I'd pop right back into my body. So I saw an owl. We locked eyes. I was more worried about, I guess, my interaction with the owl, and then after that, I was like, I think this is enough. I just popped right back into my body. So that was like one of my latest experiences last week. I believe it was last week, yeah. And then the next experience was like one of my coolest ones, and I think it's ones that have like the deepest meanings to me. So this was on yeah this experience was on the 18th, and so this is like after my son had been born, and now my family and I are back home, and we're just adjusting to trying to adjust to his sleep schedule. We're trying to make him adjust to ours. So at the time, um, my wife and I decided that we'd try sleeping downstairs on the couch, um, just so it's a little bit, just so my wife is able to like sleep with our son in her arms safely on the couch. Um, so we all slept on the couch. My wife, obviously had our son in her arms, and then our daughter slept next to me on the couch. So, sorry. So we're all on the couch sleeping. Um, I woke up and I felt this. I felt the vibrations. I was in sleep paralysis. I waited for them to get intense, and then once it subsided, I rolled out. So that's my method right there. Um, on the couch, I saw my wife, holding our 3-day old son at the time, and then I see my daughter sleeping on the couch, and I walk over to my wife, and I notice that my son, his little head is poking up and following my movement. So I'm just like, is he awake? I'm trying to picture what's going on, and I get a little closer, and as I'm taking like little steps like from side to side, like from left to right and back to the left, just trying to check out and see if my son's really moving his head. And I see his little baby head, just poking up, and his eyes are following me. He's really following my movements, and I'm just like, wow, this is really cool. Um, and then I just look over to him and I just tell him I love him. And I tell my wife I love her. I tell my our daughter I love her as well. So yeah, that was my son's astral body that I saw, and I did not see my wife's astral body, and I did not see our daughter's astral body. Um, so at the time, I just said, I just let that be, and then I just kind of said to myself, I want to see someone, like just take me to someone. So immediately I'm taken to the street, and in the street it's a man in a hoodie, and the man in the hoodie, he's on the phone and he's like walking very fastly. He seems like he's very busy, and I look in front of the person's face to see who it is, and it's like an old classmate that I knew from high school. It's like a good friend from high school, and I try to call his name, but he's not responding. He's just like he like walks over into a house, goes into a garage, and I just think he couldn't see me or whatever. So then after that, I tried to astral travel to like my sister-in-law's house, but I messed up because as I was trying to do that, I was kind of thinking about how much time had passed since I've been astral projecting, and then I kind of thought about my body, and I popped right back in. So I messed up that way. So that was my experience. Now I'm kind of just gonna dive into the aspect of how everyone astral projects and you don't even know it. Um, so when I came out of my body and I looked at the couch and saw my family sleeping, I saw my son's astral body, and I've been thinking about why I was able to see his astral body. And my thought on that is that, a couple things. He was just born, so maybe he's tied to his physical body more, or the next kind of thought I had was that, maybe that, my son and I have had a strong emotional connection since he's been born. Since he's been born, I've been, telling him stories. I've been talking to him. And like a little backstory, so when my son was born, he had to be transported to a different hospital just to get some type of treatment. But now he's all good. But while he was at that other hospital, I stayed with him that night, and I held his hand, and I would just talk to him, tell him stories and everything. Um, so since we've been home, I still continue to do that. So that's kind of my thought. But maybe we were also vibrating on like the same kind of frequency, so we were able to see each other. But it was just really cool to see that, I saw his astral body and he was staring at me and kind of following me. It was like a really beautiful moment. Um, but he was probably, astral projecting unconsciously, because he was he was really actually sleeping. But astral bodies don't need sleep; they don't need rest. So his astral body was, therefore awake and able to interact with me. And then with my wife and my daughter, I did not see their astral body. And with that, I think it's because they were probably um, maybe what's the word? They were, of course they were sleeping, but their astral bodies was probably unconsciously astral projecting elsewhere. And my belief on dreams is that when we're dreaming, I believe we're astral projecting unconsciously. That's my belief. So I think that their astral body may have been elsewhere at the time, or they could have just been vibrating at a different frequency somewhere else. So I did not see them. Um, but that is that. And then my old classmate that I saw, I believe that I think I was trying to figure out if that was his actual physical body walking in the street going somewhere. I hope not, just because it was very, very late. So I'm just like, I wonder where he's going. But would I honestly think? I think he was actually like kind of the same thing with my wife and daughter. I think he was astral projecting unconsciously, and so essentially he was sleeping and he was dreaming, and probably in his dream, he probably has like a recollection of like someone came up close to me, um, or someone I know came up close to me while I was on the phone walking, and I couldn't really get their face, but someone trying to get my attention, but I was busy. So essentially, yes, I think he was astral projecting unconsciously, or in what he would think dreaming. Um, so that's that. Um, but essentially, though, everyone astral projects every single night. Um, we do it unconsciously, or if you want to, you can do it consciously and have this experience and learn uh, learn about yourself and learn about others. Um, but what I always tell people is to confirm it for yourself. Um, it's like something I think that everyone should experience or try to do at some point. It just really opens up your eyes, and it makes you look at life from a new lens and look at things from a different perspective. So you can prove it, but you should have someone prove it for themselves. Um, but yeah, that was today's podcast episode. I think I'll be uploading again next week. I'll try to have a new experience. Hopefully, it works out. So, yeah, thank you everyone for listening. I hope you have a great day, and I'll talk to you next week.